Greetings, everybody. It's another Monday morning. It's another day. You're here with Rally in the morning talking pure aquarium. Okay, so for the past week, I've been absent during this hour because I was just taking a little, my time. I've been absent during this hour. Alright, I've been taking a little my time. Alright, so today's topic is using plastic plants within your aquarium. You know how we do it in the mornings. It's pure aquarium talk. No little gesturing about anything else. All right. So thanks for joining me in another morning fish talk. As I said before, we're talking about aquarium plants. Now I have seen several shares, several shares with uh really beautiful, aesthetic, I call it, the really beautiful look, wherein which the aquarium looks so stunning, beautiful plants. It appease the sight, all different kind of color. Aesthetically great. Um, and you would never know that. A matter of fact, I've seen uh, wherein which a person have actually having an aquarium on display, and I was like commenting on the plant, asking about the plant, not knowing that the plant was false, and the person said to me, "Hey, you know that the plant is false." All right, so for today, for the next 60 minutes, I'll be talking to you about that little, decoration aspect of your aquarium. Is it good? Is it bad? What you think? All right, so I'll be looking at shouldn't I? Whether or not that's really a good thing. All right. Now, many companies exist out there which do invest heavily. When I say heavily, I mean heavily, in creating fake plants, which is intended to make your aquarium space look really good. Yeah, really good. Right, and this discussion is in no way, shape, or form. You have to see with me, me yawning because just wake up 5 minutes too, and prepare within a couple of minutes, wash my face, drink some water, and get myself. Okay, so okay, I yawn a little bit. So about that. Okay, so I am not here to attack anybody's product with regards to fake aquarium plants. I am just here to talk about aquarium setup, whether or not this plant is appropriate. Well, this part of the decoration process within the aquarium is a safe product for your aquarium, and these are just my thoughts. Some of these thoughts have been researched, and I have discovered several little things in which I wish to share. First and foremost, again, I'd like to thank everyone for supporting me for the past, call it 4 years. April coming will be 4 years on YouTube. I'll be starting my fifth year, right? And I think that I have, I've actually, maintained a particular standard, and I have actually achieved quite enough to see that I'm going strong. All right, so plastic or fake plants allows for you to create a masterpiece display aquarium. Remember last 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago, I was talking about creating a centerpiece aquarium, centerpiece fish, create this centerpiece focus point, right? Sorry about that. Alarm ensuring that I'm up. Alright, so it's like a continuation of the flow. So everything is like putting together. Now, many persons have been using fake plants for years, and looking at the topic, they might say that, hey, this topic foolishness, man, because I've been using fake plants for years and I have not experienced any problem because it's just working out for me. Nothing is wrong with fake plants. I've been using for years, but it's a fact. Based on research, all aquariums in which they have been used in, is that something that is of great value. Not because something don't affect you, that doesn't mean that it is, right. That doesn't mean that it goes with everything that that's out there that's positive, that's good. Alright. So to be frank, it is an awesome look, having an awesome look of the natural ecosystem, right? As you all know, a lot of persons seek to create a replica of the natural ecosystem that exists out there, right? Within the you want to create symbolic biotope, not necessarily the real thing, but symbolic thing, right? With the absence of, of special lighting for a specific plant, with the absence of soil type and ensuring that the water chemistry is right. The plant uh, is really considered convenient for many. Some plants are just so difficult to care and maintain. Maintain this little beautiful look in which it have, right? And it's just so when you look at fake plants in aquarium. For me in Jamaica, getting some plants to place in the aquarium is like it's like it's not gonna work. Some plants is either you can't get it, uh meaning that it is not available in Jamaica, and some plants it, to some extent it's more expensive than the fish that you want to put in the aquarium. So I don't really see it make sense. Now, for me, when I am going to, like, let's say, plant shopping, right? And and I go by the pet store and I look at the plants that the pet store is actually selling here in Jamaica, West Indies. I realize that most of the plants that they are selling, right, I mean plants, live plants, right? I can just go by the river, and for those persons familiar with my channel, you will know that I live near a river. I can just go by the river and I can just pluck them out of the river and I can just actually place them into my aquarium space, right? So it's not I here nor there getting those plants. It's just the ones in which I would want, they are just not available, right? Okay. Now I have had personal experiences, as I said before, looking for exotic plants, but it's just not there. Now plants are unique to different regions, right? Plants are, I call it now, just like fish, you have African cichlid, you have South American cichlid, Central American cichlid. You have plants from different regions. Whilst they might be able to uh, replace within an aquarium space, look beautiful, but they require a certain type of care. That sometimes I'm talking about live plants now. So I'm trying to show you the contrast between live plants and plastic plants, fake plants, as to why some persons might use these as a means of decorating their aquarium. Alright, so as I said before, can't get them, too expensive, and there is some just require, and that's life plants. Some just require unique setup, that if these unique setup is not really taken into consideration, your life plants will just not survive. Your life plants will become yellow, and then it will become brown, and then it will actually die. Right? Bear in mind also, people, that you have some live plants that although you put them into your aquarium, they are considered poisonous to your fish, whether it be the roof, whether it be the root, the leaf, the stem, whatever part of the plant. But if the fish actually try to nip at it, the fish will actually die. And plants like black walnut, bleeding heart, caladium, and castor bean, right? These are like poisonous plants, aquarium plants that I have seen persons use within their aquarium, right? I'm not 100% sure if these plants do affect humans in particular, like persons might have allergy or whatever, right? But these are some of the variables that persons consider when thinking about whether or not they should use fake plants or real plants. And some persons actually use the fake plants, although the real plants are available, readily available where they are at. But it's just that they feel as if it's a little bit more. And we're going to look about it. We're going to look at the pros and the cons in a bit, right? As to fake plants, pros, advantage, and cons, disadvantage. Now, as a result, artificial plants are preferred in many cases. Artificial plants are usually made from materials such as plastic, silk, or even textiles, cloth. And artificial plants are normally colorful and attractive. And when measure up to the live plant itself, the actual plant itself, right? The costing factor is a great encouragement to get plastic plants. Now, it is important to note that they have both pros and cons. And as I said before, we're going to go into the pros and cons of having all of that. Now, using these options rest on the hobbies, as I said before, should or should I not? Right? What are some of the pros of using artificial plants? Now, let's look at it. Now, artificial plant. When you buy the artificial plant, you don't have to get any specific soil. You don't have to get any specific lighting, right? It's just come pre-packaged. And you don't have to worry about any parasite on the plant. You don't have to pre-treat, like quarantine and all that. You just get the plastic plant, probably wash off a little dust off it, and like stick it into the substrate, and you'll be good, right? Artificial plants, again, an advantage is that artificial plants are normally inexpensive, right? And they, to a great extent, they look like the actual thing, right? They normally come with some unusual, unique colors, and I call it allows the aquarium to look really really interesting, really really nice, attractive, especially for those persons who like to use like the LED colored lights. Having some fake colorful plants within the aquarium with the LED light shining on it, wow, it looks so astounding, right? So here talk about two advantages of using plastic plants within the aquarium so far. No, artificial plant cannot be consumed or damaged by fish. I did a video. I did a video a few weeks ago where I look at my salvinia, I call it giant duckweed plant within my goldfish and my koi pond. And I must say that at first when I just got this giant duckweed, I placed it there and it looked so really, really cool, really, really cool. Right, and I was saying, wow, if this plant continues to, flourish within my pond system, I would just I would take out some and place into the other little small ponds and take out the LOD denser and just use it. Now, after about 4 weeks of using this salvinia in, probably I don't pronounce it well. In my koi and my goldfish pond. You know what the goldfish did? The goldfish and the koi actually ate the roots of the plant. And all the work getting those plants, going around and getting these plants. Well, giant duckweed. Some persons don't like duckweed in total, but the giant duckweed really, really, really works out well. Right? the giant duckweed just end up dying from the koi and the goldfish pond, right? So I had to get some LED denser to place in the koi and the goldfish pond, right? The reason for that is that my submersible pump for that pond system actually went out, and I have not gotten around to actually replace that as yet because I got a new pond. So therefore, I had to install a submersible pump in that new pond, and the submersible pump is not a cheap equipment for a pond. So I have other responsibilities, so I just allow it like that. So the LOD denser is actually working right now. It has been working for the past 2 months for my car and my goldfish pond. But the essence of this, sharing this with you is that uh the plant actually died. I have the goldfish and the koi actually ate the roots, but the leaf of the plant actually fell to the base of the pond. So I had to actually do a massive water change, because the decayed matter and water was like becoming really really bad. So in comparison to artificial plants will not be eaten or destroyed, or will not be decayed, or will not clog uh, your aquarium filter or system, or it just will not be like that. It will stay as how it is. When you place it in, it will continue to be like that until you choose to take it out, right? So that's a good advantage, isn't it? They do not have any special environment. Another advantage of artificial plants, they just don't have any specific environment, such as substrate temperature, pH, fertilization. So they can be used anywhere in the tank. You can place a tank anywhere, and you don't need no special CO2. You don't need no CO2 to be pumped into the aquarium. You don't need no lighting. You have lighting at certain grade level for your aquarium, because you want the plants to actually flourish and looking really nice. You have to have the water chemistry set at a particular way so as to ensure that your plants receive the correct nutrients, and you want the soil to be at a particular texture, right? So as to ensure that your aquarium plant, your live aquarium plant, is doing good. Now, another advantage is that then you don't need any special effort to actually maintain them. When you have live plants, you have to spend some time to actually clip off the dead leaves. So sometimes you need to cut off a little stem here because they're actually going out, and it really looks like it's a awesome work. I've seen persons grooming their planted aquarium, and they have in grooming the planted aquarium, they have spent several hours clipping. They have spent several hours clipping, and they have spent several hours clipping the hey, wagwan boss. You know that I never see the comments. I don't know the reason why. Big up yourself, boss. Ah, cool, cool. Thank you, thank you. I never saw the comments. I was here like talking, looking up in the sky. Nice seeing you, Funk Big Ease. Big respect, boss. You have given up on plans. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a very ticklish thing. It's a very ticklish thing using live plants, because it's like, to some extent, some live plants form. It's like you spend more attention with the plants than the fish itself. Some persons are, I don't know what you call it. It's just about the plants, But the only reason why they place fish in the aquarium is because they want some of the waste from the fish to actually. Oh, thank you for the $10, brother. No respect. Right? It's just that they want what you call it now. They want the waste from the fish to actually act as a nutrient for the plant. So that's why they put the plant. Sorry, that's why they put the fish in the aquarium space, right? So some persons actually some persons actually do it that way. But for me, I let's look. I don't know if you're still here, but Oscar fish and some other fish. If you ever put aquarium plant in their aquarium space or pond space, I can guarantee that you'll be buying plants for a very long time because these fish will actually tear up the plant. And as I said before, you have some plant that is poisonous to your. I'm talking about live plants here, right? Some plants are poisonous to the fish if the fish actually nibbles at the root, the leaf, the stem, or even the what I call it, the decaying plant itself. It will actually cause problem for your aquarium, right? Yeah, yeah, for real. So it's a little bit ticklish as far as the choosing whether or not you're actually going to be using aquarium plants, choosing whether or not you're going to be using um fake plants. It's an option in which persons consider because let's look at some of the disadvantage. I did a piece in my lecture series last year where I looked at some of the dangers of using live aquatic plants, right? I look at some of the pros and some of the cons. Whilst this is not about live plants in the morning, here we're talking about fake plants, right? But it is of importance that we understand the contrast between fake and live plants as to the advantage to and from. So therefore, I'm just gonna bring you through some of the advantages and disadvantages of having live plants within the aquarium space, right? For me, I've tried a planted tank. Tried a planted tank some months ago, right? And it was an experience. It was really good for me, as far as setting up because I use outside dirt, dirt at the back my backyard. I sifted it. I went through the process making the soil that worthy for my aquarium space. I washed it, I sieved it, I washed it, I placed it in the aquarium. I went by the river. I got some live plants and I stuck it in there and they were doing well for a while. And then what I realized is that my aquarium had a little crack at the base of the aquarium, with the soil and all that was in it. It actually had broken and water was actually coming out. So I had to do what I had to do. I had to remove it, and in doing that I practically just ended the whole thought about having a planted pond, a planted aquarium, right? So what I did, I'm coming back to the story about the whole plastic plant, decorative plants, right? Um, what I did in an effort to continue the plant, have the because the plants was in the aquarium, I was now transferring the plants to somewhere else. That's what I did. I placed them into a small little pond outside, and I placed some fish in it. And one thing I realized it was really a problem when those fish actually had babies in that planted mini planted pond, right? And I was trying to get hold of the babies, and so as to because what had happened is that along with the babies, a frog went into the pond, laid eggs. So along with the babies, I had some some small tadpoles. So I had to know. I have an outdoor system, so probably what your experience will probably might be a little bit more unique than mine. So what I had to do now, I had to get the babies. I never get the tadpole. I got the babies out. After getting the babies out, I got some convict cichlids. I placed in the pond, and the convict cichlids took care of the tadpole, and that was it. But I found a lot of problems actually having that space, because I now had to be ensuring that too much sunlight is not reaching the plant. And plant love sunlight, but too much sunlight creates algae, and algae goes on the plant, and the system just look really messed up, right? Although if I had plastic plant, probably algae would be there, but it would be much easier to clean, in a sense that I can actually just do a water change, do a little cleaning, a little brush cleaning, and it will be easier that way with with some plastic decoration, right? So lunatic fringe. Sorry, boss. Me never now look at the thing. I was looking up in the sky. It was on the screen, but I was just looking up, wondering what happened to the the chat. Right? Sorry about that, boss. All right. So let's continue. Let's continue with regards to plastic plants. Right? So plastic plants sometimes, although manufacturers normally use um fish safe, fish friendly, I call it fish friendly paint coloring on the aquarium, but there are some disadvantage in using plastic plants within your aquarium, and we have to be mindful of that, right? So let's look at some of the disadvantage. Right, let's look at some of the disadvantage of using plastic plants within or should I say artificial plants within the aquarium. Now, artificial plants can harm your fish. Some fish are very sensitive, um, sensitive to plastic, sensitive to silk, um, very very delicate. And if you're not careful, just placing the plastic plants within your aquarium, or should I say, yeah, the decorative plants, some people prefer to call it that. All right, within your aquarium, you are practically gonna be harming your fish, and you might not even know it, right? Another disadvantage is that that plants actually help with the breaking down of nitrates and nitrites within the aquarium. It's not only for beauty. Aquarium plants serve a great deal of purpose within your aquarium. So let's say that you have a well-stocked aquarium with some plants in it, and you have a filtration system, you have some soil substrate. You're talking about overhead, what do you call it, hang on the back filtration system. What you find, you might find that your system might be, doing really awesome, right? I mean, everything is just coexisting within an ecosystem that, yeah. Yeah, but you see, aquafunk, some snails, although you're saying you're using apple snails, some snails actually consume your aquarium plant. So it's a gamble, because probably everyone might not like apple snails, right? Some persons might prefer trumpet snails. Some persons might prefer apple snails. Some persons might prefer different type of snails. And what you find is that placing snails within the aquarium space, it can be an advantage in the sense that it helps to store up the substrate. Nutrients are stored up. It get rid of the I think I might look at that in one of these mornings where I look at using snails within your aquarium space. Yeah, it actually go at uneaten food from the fish. You feed the fish uneaten food fall to the substrate and the snail actually go and get that and all that, right? Yeah. So snail do work to actually help to clean the life plants, right? Yeah, that's cool. That's 100% true. Um, looking at looking at an aquarium with plants, looking at an aquarium with substrate hang on the back and fish swimming, you might have a balanced system, right? Yeah. But let's take out the life plants out of the mix and let's look at placing fake plants there, decorative plants there. Now they look all awesome and good, yeah, with the substrate with the fake plants stuck in there. But when you look at it, you're gonna realize that the fake plants are not really doing anything other than just acting as a decoration for your system, right? The fake plants just cannot act in place of live plants. It does not manage the nitrates and nitrites in the aquarium space. It doesn't contribute to the whole cycle of the aquarium, right? So fake plants and when looking at it from that end, you realize that it's just not gonna work, right? Also, right? Well, they call it biological value, right? So in a sense, it doesn't add any biological value to your aquarium. Now, artificial plants do not inhibit algae growth, but they do not help with it either, right? In the sense that, as I was saying before, your live aquarium plants are more prone to have algae issues than, let's say, plastic plants, right? Yeah. So if for some plants you might have algae growing on them, and when algae do grow on some plants, so you're gonna have the plants actually be getting restriction in light, so the plants might actually die because it's not getting the amount of light that it needs, so as to to the process of photosynthesis. So the plant might not be able to produce enough food, so therefore the plant might actually die. But with the okay, you have a question, from cool. Uh, well, as far as having plastic plant, no, Funky asked a really cool question. One in which I was going to get to in a bit, but since he asked it, I'll answer. Right? Yes, you have some. Right? It's just like you buy some toys for your kids, and some toys have some very sharp edges. Sometimes the manufacturer doesn't it doesn't go through the entire process of what call it grinding down the edges for the plants. So one way of ensuring that this doesn't happen is that whenever you get your aquarium plants, you normally use a sandpaper or something to shave down the edges if they feel as if they are sharp. Now, what you must remember is that with your aquarium fish within the aquarium space, right, they'll be chasing at each other, right? Going through the setup, right, very fast. And if they're going at a very fast pace, right, and the edges of the plastic plants are not smooth, or they have some sharp edges, what will happen is that these sharp edges may actually inflict some amount of wound on the fish. Whilst the wound might not be the problem, what might be the problem is that other bacteria that exist within the water space now end up go into that wound. So therefore, it metastasizes and it becomes a problem where in which the fish is now infected with parasites or harmful bacteria that makes the fish sick, and in some cases the fish will actually eventually die, right? So regards to plastic plant, it there's a I would not, and some fish are very inquisitive. Some fish are very inquisitive. All right, I did a video I did a video. It's not yet out, but I did a video about goldfish, right? um you know that you have different type of plastic plants, and plastic plants, they come in several designs, with fine some little fine stuff on it, right? Now I would avoid certain plastic plants for some fish, especially those fish that love to take up things in their mouth. Now sometimes over time, pieces of the plant might fall off in the substrate. The fish picks it up in its mouth and actually chokes on it. I've seen where in which goldfish have actually taken up pebbles out of the substrate. I I don't know if they're sucking off something of it, but it actually slides down the throat, where in which persons caught it on time, and some persons don't catch it on time. The persons who caught on time have to some fine implement to actually pluck out the pebble out of the mouth, right? Same too. I also fear that that might be an issue as far as plastic plants is concerned, but I don't think that is a great issue. But the thing in which okay. Yeah, I know, Fong. You never see it, but what I'm saying, it depends on the type of fish that you actually have. Some fish are very docile, slow swimming. They are not chasing at each other. But let's say that you have some fish that love to chase each other. Like let's say that you have some Jack Dempsey, or better yet, you have some Oscar, some cichlids that love to chase each other, love to fight and all of that, right? So you have one fish running down the other to really, get a bite out of it, right? You might end up have one fish actually brushing against the fish, brushing against the decoration so much that you end up with a scale being removed, or the fish actually getting some puncture within the skin, resulting in some issue being occurring. I have seen, literally seen, driftwood having sharp edge actually puncture the side of a fish already, right? And the fish was actually being chased by another fish, right? So it was like turning the corner very swiftly, and the driftwood, it had a little fine piece at the side, right? And the fish turned and it actually punched on the side of the fish, and that caused problem, right? So I'm just guessing that this can also be a problem with the plastic. Biggies, nice seeing you, my boss. One up, one up, one up, one up. Yeah. All right. So I am just of the opinion. Whilst I do not have plastic plants in my system, so I don't keep plastic plants, right? I don't keep aquariums with live plants either. What I do, I have ponds with um with some plants in it, and that's how I've been keeping my fish from ever since, right? So based on what I've read, all of what I'm sharing with you, Funk, is just based off what I've read over a period of time, with regards to fake plants, and possibility that lies if you do keep them within the aquarium space. See, that has okay. Yes, that's true. Driftwood, and some substrate, some like some decorative, what persons would I say, decorative stones, or some stones in persons get from the backyard. They place it in the aquarium, and you find that these stones might cause a little problem here and there. Yes, that's true. Than plastic plants. Most produce really awesome plastic plants, well shaped, well smooth, so therefore it doesn't really harm your fish. Most plastic plants, right, are like that. But you still have morning freshwater antronox. Nice seeing you, my boss. Today we're talking about using plastic plants in your aquarium. Is it safe? And we're looking at the advantages and disadvantages. And right now we are at whether or not plastic plants can actually you know, does any puncture to your fish skill? Is it a myth? Is it a reality? Or is it just something that will happen? Right? And Aquafunk and myself have been looking at it, and persons want their product to be sold, and persons want their product to to reach that level where each person actually gravitates to it. I think Funk, the issue of decorative plants having jagged edges, I think that's like 0.5 out of 10 chances, and I wouldn't even say 1 out of 10, right now, based on modernization and the whole quality standards in which everyone is expected to have as far as manufacturing is concerned. So I don't think right now probably you will not find that being an issue, right? But back in the days, that was an issue because the quality plastic plants that were being sold during the earlier years of fish keeping, I would say, um, might not have been, I call it now, scrutinized as though they are being scrutinized in today's fish keeping, arena. So as a result of that, certain things have actually been improved. So certain problems that persons might have today, well, yeah, today, yes, in comparison to let's say a few years ago, that probably will not really exist, right? That's how I see it. In reflective mode, looking at it, that's what I think, right? I did a few pieces, as I said before, on plants and life plants, right? And I've actually explored some advantages and disadvantages of life plants, right? And you can check out these shares. I think it was in my lecture series last year. As I said before, I won't be having a lecture series this year. Lecture series are normally research, 100% research information, specific topics in fish keeping that I normally do for about probably a week or two each year. This year, because I'm doing the live, and most of my life, if not all of my life, I have research information at my disposal, which I discuss about. Um, so I won't be delving much more in any research material with regards to aquariums, the hobby, fish keeping in per se, right? Funk is practically suggesting that all of the whole the idea of fish scales, yeah, should I say fish scales or fish becoming punctured as a result of decorative plants, plastic plants, all of that is like a myth. All of that is like a real reality. So he was asking me if this do really happen, if I have actually personally seen that, and I've shared that I've read where this can happen. However, I have never yet seen it myself. However, what I've seen for myself, I've seen where it's driftwood in which I've placed in the aquarium. I never remember to take off the a little piece that was sticking out uh, in my Jack Dempsey pond, and it actually injured one of my Jack Dempsey back in the days. A few scales actually fell off, and all of that because one Jack Dempsey was actually chasing another one. I think it was like the alpha, and another one was at war, right? So this was like an issue within. It was like an entire day worth of fighting. The aquarium was just clean. Well, not the aquarium. The pond was just clean, and the fish was being placed, but they've been actually placed back into the pond, and a lot of chasing was happening. So I've actually witnessed that for myself. But as far as the decorative plant actually causing injury, to be honest, to be frank, I have not seen that with my own eyes. I've only read literature that actually focused on this and actually warned aquarists that whenever they are actually installing aquarium, fake aquarium plants within their system, they should ensure that the edges are what I call it, use it, file paper, yeah, or something to shave down the sharp edges, and if possible, avoid the decorative plant that has a little fine points, fine leaves. You know, like for example, you have some fake plants. They actually look like the real thing with some little fine leaves and stuff. So you avoid those. You use the fake plants with a larger leaf. That way, it prohibits the aquarium fish from actually trying to nibble at it, and by accident, pieces actually going down in its mouth and actually suffocating it to death, right? One of the advantages of using fake plants is that it will not be torn by, let's say, a Jack Dempsey. So if you put some fake plants in a Jack Dempsey aquarium, right, the Jack Dempsey might uproot the fake plants from the substrate, right? But you can just return and you can actually tuck it in back again, right? But if you, let's say that is some live plants there, the Jack Dempsey, although it's root out, the Jack Dempsey is gonna sort out that plant, tear it up to frazzle, right? And it's just gonna be a lot of work, right? Okay, Marina Bamboo. Okay. But Chonox, I am wondering if like does it really come with a sharp edge? Is this the real plant, right? You're talking about real plant or you're talking about fake plant? Does it actually comes like when it's growing, does it have sharp edges, or like because you have actually broken off a piece to actually plant in the substrate, that broken piece is actually a little bit sharp, and over time it will actually become a little bit more blunt, or should I say a little bit more, sorry, a little bit more, a little bit more safe, something like, I'm not 100% sure, but I shared before that you have some plants, right? That some live plants that are poisonous to aquarium fish, right? And you should take note of them. These plants are like black walnut, bleeding heart, caladium, castor bean plants, right? These are used within aquariums as aquarium plants, and they are poisonous, right? You have some advantage and disadvantage of 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 artificial plants, right? One of the main disadvantage is that they do not provide alternative source for the fish, right? Food source for the fish. And you might be saying that how is it that aquarium plants provide food source for fish? You see, some plants have some microscopic organism that continuously exists on it. Okay, hold on there. Let me see what Chunks is actually saying. Okay. Yes. That's practically what I'm saying. Well, as I've said, as I've said, Chunks, freshwater Chunks, I have never seen. I've seen fish with scales missing in planted aquarium with false, well, in aquarium that has false plants, right? Uh, w- I've seen scales missing, but I have attributed that scales missing to fish actually fighting, right? Not necessarily because of the decoration. I am not, I am not agreeing or disagreeing that false plants will cause your fish to experience punctured scale and skin. But this is a great risk in which you are actually placing your fish, at, your fish might experience this. So you have to be very careful when you're placing falls plant within your aquarium space, you have to ensure that the edges are shaved down. Get a nice piece of file, what I call it, sandpaper, right? And actually shave down the edges, and before you actually stick it into the substrate, right? That's one of the safest way. Now, Aquafunk asks about the plant type. Now, as Sunok says, that you have marine land, the marine land manufacture some plants, and they have some sharp edges, the bamboo in which they actually have by marine land. So that's a probability, right? That's a probability that those sharp edges will cause inflict some amount of injury to the fish as the fish actually traverse the water space. Now, as I said before, I did a few pieces on using live plants, and I think that you should look at that, because I looked at 10 pros and 10 cons, but I'm still going to be mentioning aspects of it, because you talking about artificial plant, it just brings to the fore the whole idea of using live plants within your aquarium space, right? Okay, all right. So let's look at some of the pros. Let's look at some of the pros of keeping live plants in your aquarium. Now, live plant, um, it actually enhance the, or should I say, yeah, it enhance the natural ecosystem in which the fish normally exist in. Although some persons use some plants that doesn't really exist within the space in which the fish actually originate from, the biotope in which the fish actually comes from. But it gives the live plant actually give the fish a different type of life. If you were supposed to measure up live plants versus like a live plant aquarium versus a decorative plastic plant aquarium, chances are you might be a little bit like wondering which of the two really should I choose, right? Because they have really, really astounding advantages and really considerative disadvantages of both, right? But one thing I can say is that life plant give your aquarium or your pond space a serene, a natural serene look, right? Trust me, it looks just like nature, right? Also, life plants, right? Remember I was saying for decorative plants, you don't really have to place any CO2 in the aquarium or the pond space, right? With life plants, right? Life plants take in carbon dioxide and help, and some plants for some aquariums, for some hobbies, they use live plants, right? And when they use live plants, they want the live plant to actually look a particular way. So they, in addition to the carbon dioxide that exists within the aquarium water space, they would actually pump additional CO2 within the water. Well, well, yes. I agree with you, Fam. But plastic plant can actually give you the same look and serve the fries a hiding place also, because I want to tell you a joke, Fam. You know that using aquarium background actually can serve as a camouflage for the babies in the aquarium. So you can have an aquarium and you have no decoration, you only have a substrate, but you have a backing, aquarium background backing. And the backing is such that whenever the fish actually, let's say live bearers, actually give birth, the live the swimming fries actually just each up, or should I say, just stay beside the glass where the background is colorful, and it acts like I've experienced cases where they're hiding from me in plain sight and I never see them, right? So I understand what you're saying, and that's true, right? But yeah, that's true, right? For me, my ponds don't really have additional areation, so I use Eludia denser, and that actually actually produces a lot of oxygen, and the oxygen in it produces so much that it end up I'm experiencing algae pearling, right? In which I'm going to be talking to you about next week during my algae series, where in which I'll be talking about algae pearling, right? But it's really awesome to actually look at. It's really hard to look at. Right? Live plants actually allows your fries to actually have some amount of hiding space in which they can actually, prevent being eaten by the tank mates. Right? In addition to what Funk have did, right? It gives a nice serenic look, right? Live plants actually help to filter harmful uh, substrate waste that exists within your aquarium space, right? And to an extent, it algae feeds and waste, algae feed and waste. So in retrospect, when you place false plants within the aquarium space, what is happening is that there is no plant to actually reduce the waste within the aquarium space. So what you find is that you might end up with a little bit more, it depends on your lighting anyway, a little bit more algae in contrast to, let's say, a planted aquarium, because the plants now will be using the waste from the fish, right, so as to grow, and the waste plus the sunlight encourage growth, nutrients, and all of that, right? So it's like a symbiotic relationship, everybody depending on each individual for survival, right? All right, so in retrospect, planted aquarium is a really fascinating thing to actually observe, to look at, and I must say, planted aquarium is a lot of work. So if you're new to the hobby, some persons might opt to use decorative plants because it's the, I mean, when I say decorative, I mean like false plants, fake plants, right? Normally you find the more intermediate to experience fish keeper using live plants within their aquarium, right? So probably I am not saying that I am probably I would say I would use decorative plant for several reasons. However, I will shy away from it for several reasons. So it's like I am not even too sure. Looking at all that I found with regards to decorative plant, I am not too sure I would want that in my aquarium space. But at the same time, you have to weigh out everything as to what's the best thing, right? Planted aquarium provide an extra snack for fish that like to eat from time to time. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of persons just give up on planted aquarium, right? You have your fish, and as Fong said not too long ago, you can place snails in the aquarium so as to help to clean off the leaf of the aquarium plants. But snails to some extent might even cause a problem, because when there is nothing to consume, for example, I had some hyacinth lilies in my pond a few years ago, right? And I had a problem with snails. Snails will climb up on the hyacinth lily, lay the eggs on the hyacinth lily, right? And then as soon as the babies are born, the babies, in finding their way back down into the water, will actually eat their way down to the water on the plant itself. So my hyacinth lilies were actually damaged as a result of snails, right? So snails can cause a problem. I know that for a fact. That is something I've actually experienced, right? Plants on a whole also might be eaten by fish. So some persons place plants within the aquarium space that the fish don't like, right? So as a result of placing as a result of placing these plants within the aquarium that the fish don't like, the fish stay away from them, right? Some fish tend to, some persons that say the fish know, say they the fish know that the plant is poisonous, or the fish that know that the plant is not good, so they won't consume. That's another thing to look at, right? But as I end the next couple of minutes, right? You have disadvantage of plants. Plants require substrate and fertilizer, and plants require some amount of grooming, right? And as I said before, plants tend to carry parasites with it from wherever you purchase it. With decorative plants, you don't have that issue, right? You just get it out of the package, you wash it off, and you place it. You just tuck it into the substrate, and you're off, right? With plants, you have to go through the same rigmarole or same process, should I say, as how you would a new fish, because you might be carrying snails, parasite, bacteria that might actually end up turning aquarium upside down, right? So in comparative to decorative plant, plastic plant, live plant can cause a problem, right? Also, decorative plant, they don't have the leaf, them falling off and falling to the substrate, and they dying and causing some water chemistry problem, right? Plastic plants, the leaf don't fall off, they don't decay in the water, right? It is there until you actually remove it, right? The only thing that might end up fade on the plastic plant is the color. And the reason why the color might fade is because you're actually treating your fish with some sort of medicine, and which have some amount of reaction to the reaction with the paint or the coloring on the, yeah, yeah. I remember that. You're dreaming, boss. You're dreaming. But it would be a really, really awesome experience to see you actually breathing the beta. I'm so sorry that that happened, right? But I've actually experienced that very same thing where I went to the river, I got some live plants, I placed into my ponds, and within a couple of weeks, I saw a bunch of wild snails in my pond. I had to actually remove all the plants, remove the water, and do a lot of things so as to get rid of them, right? So it can be a problem. It can be a problem. Live plants can be a problem within the aquarium space. Having fake plants, it just take you out of that thing, that space where you have to be looking now for light, you have to be looking out for CO2, you have to be looking for the water chemistry to be right, the temperature, you have to quarantine the plant, you have to ensure that the plant it is rooted properly and all that. That all of that is eliminated with fake plants, right? However, you have disadvantages. You have some fish being so sensitive, what you would call allergic to certain probably the paint that is actually used to cover the plastic plant itself. So that within itself might cause a problem, right? Artificial plants perform alternative solution in decorative mostly, as I said before, beginners aquarium, right? Persons like novice, newbies within the fish keeping hobby, they tend to gravitate to plastic plants more than live plants, because live plant is work unto itself, right? Now, choosing the right mix for your aquarium is a personal choice. I am not here to say that it is right or it is wrong, right? Choosing the right plant for your aquarium can be a matter of taste. Some persons like dark colors, some persons like light colors, some persons like fluffy plants, some persons like small plants. So it's all about taste, right? It depends on how much time you're willing to sacrifice in actually grooming that aquarium to be in a spotlight that you prefer, a healthy, nice, attractive spotlight. No, it has been a really um interested thought, interested No, man, you're not a newbie, man. Once you are knowledgeable of, once you are knowledgeable, well, I consider myself newbie to several things, including planted aquarium. There are certain parts of aquarium keeping, fish keeping, that I consider myself newbie. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. Fish water channels. Um, but as far as plants are concerned, it's based on the pros and the cons, based on your circumstances. It was a pleasure being here this morning. I will live again Wednesday morning with another interesting fish keeping chat. This is really for another morning talk and fish keeping coming from Jamaica, West Indies, Clarendon to be exact. Love you all, guys. Appreciate you staying by for the entire hour. Well, hour and 5 minutes. One up. Stay tuned for other interesting shares during the course of this week. Thank you very much. Peace out. Funk, Freshwater, Big Ease, and the rest of you guys that have contributed to the conversation. Lunatic Fringe, I think I saw him at the beginning. I don't know if he's still here. But one up. Appreciate you being here. Bye bye for now. Catch you Wednesday morning, 6 o'clock sharp.